Hello, Dazzle. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I'm glad that you were here. Today, I'm going to be talking about Dark Souls some more. The game is renowned for its challenging gameplay, intricate lore, and atmospheric world building. Dark Souls stands out for its deep exploration of existential dread and moral ambiguity. The game places players in a decaying world where they confront the inevitability of death and the uncertainty of their purpose. Today, I want to talk about how this game explores these themes, examining how they are woven into the game's narrative, mechanics, and world, and how they contribute to the overall experience of Dark Souls. The themes of existential dread and moral ambiguity in Dark Souls are not merely separate narrative elements, but are intricately connected, creating a cohesive and immersive experience that challenges the player on both intellectual and emotional levels. This interplay deepens the player engagement with the game as they must navigate a world where the line between good and evil, purpose and futility is blurred. The game's bleak world amplifies the weight of moral choices as players grapple with the implications of their actions in a universe where hope is scarce. The existential dread felt by the player character parallels the moral ambiguity they face, as both themes revolve around uncertainty and the search for meaning. In Dark Souls, the world is in a state of inevitable decline. The first flame, a source of light and life, is fading, symbolizing the end of an era. This backdrop of decay and entropy creates a pervasive sense of existential dread. The player, as the chosen undead, faces the reality of a dying world, where every action seems to only delay the inevitable. This existential backdrop amplifies the weight of the player's choices, as they are forced to act within a universe where ultimate meaning and purpose are uncertain. The game's moral ambiguity is heightened by the existential crisis at its core. The player's decisions often revolve around maintaining the status quo or embracing change, each choice tinged with moral uncertainty. The decision to link the first flame or let it die is not simply a binary choice of good versus evil. Linking the flame could be seen as an act of preservation, an attempt to prolong the age of fire and stave off darkness. However, it also perpetuates a cycle of suffering as the world continues to decay. Allowing the flame to die, on the other hand, may usher in an age of dark, a period of unknown potential, but also represents a rejection of the established order and an acceptance of the world's inevitable end. These choices reflect the player's confrontation with existential questions. Is it better to maintain a flawed, decaying system or embrace an uncertain future? Does life have inherent meaning, or is it defined by the choices that we make in the face of despair? The game does not provide clear answers, leaving players to grapple with these profound questions for themselves. The characters in Dark Souls further explore the interplay of existential dread and moral ambiguity. Many NPCs grapple with their own existential crises, reflecting different philosophical perspectives on life and purpose. For instance, Solaire of Ostera seeks his own son, which serves as a metaphor for personal fulfillment and purpose. His quest is deeply existential, as he searches for meaning in a world where gods and men alike face their demise. His inevitable fate, potentially succumbing to madness, highlights the precarious nature of this quest and the dangers of clinging too tightly to a single purpose. Similarly, the character of Sigmire of Katarina embodies a different aspect of this existential dread. His optimistic and adventurous nature is gradually worn down by the harsh realities of the world. His eventual hollowing, should the player fail to assist him, underscores the inevitability of despair in a world devoid of hope. His story raises questions about the value of perseverance in the face of insurmountable odds, and whether it's possible to maintain one's integrity and sense of self in such a world. Other characters like King Sinker Frapp and Dark Stalker Kath represent opposing forces that manipulate the player toward different ends. Frapp encourages the player to link the flame, upholding the cycle of fire, while Kath promotes the Age of Dark, suggesting a break from the path. Both characters present compelling arguments, yet neither path is clearly righteous. This ambiguity reflects the game's underlying message. There is no ultimate authority on morality or purpose. The player's actions and decisions define their own narrative. The mechanics of Dark Souls also plays a crucial role in expressing the interplay between existential dread and moral ambiguity. The game's difficulty and punishing nature reinforce the idea that life is a series of challenges that can seem insurmountable. Each death serves as a reminder of the player's mortality and the futility of their efforts, echoing existential themes. However, the possibility of resurrection and the persistence to overcome these challenges emphasize the importance of agency and personal growth and offer us hope. The Covenant system is another mechanic that embodies moral ambiguity. Each Covenant offers unique benefits and aligns the player with specific factions, such as the Dark Wraiths, who seek to harvest humanity, or the Warriors of Sunlight, who aid other players. However, joining a Covenant often involves morally ambiguous actions, such as invading other players' worlds to collect humanity or defending the interests of gods with questionable motives. These choices forces players to weigh their own values against the game's rewards and consequences, further immersing them in the moral complexity of the world. The narrative structure of Dark Souls is deliberately vague, requiring players to piece together the story through fragmented lore and cryptic dialogue. This lack of explicit storytelling creates an atmosphere of uncertainty and ambiguity, mirroring the existential dread felt by the player character. The player's interpretation of the story is influenced by their own experiences, choices, and moral judgments, making each playthrough a unique reflection of the player's perspective on the game's philosophical themes. This narrative ambiguity is central to the game's exploration of existential dread and moral ambiguity. By refusing to provide definitive answers, Dark Souls compels players to confront their own beliefs and values. The game's open-ended nature allows for multiple interpretations, inviting players to question the nature of reality, the purpose of existence, and the morality of their actions. Dark Souls is a profound exploration of existential dread and moral ambiguity, challenging players to confront deep philosophical questions within a dark, decaying world. Through its atmospheric setting, fragmented narrative, and complex characters, the game forces players to grapple with the inevitability of death, the uncertainty of purpose, and the complexity of moral choices. The intertwining of these themes creates a unique and thought-provoking experience that transcends traditional gaming narratives, offering players a mirror to reflect on the human condition. In a world where the line between light and dark is blurred, Dark Souls reminds us that life is a series of choices, each with its own moral weight and existential implications. The game's enduring appeal lies in its ability to evoke introspection and challenge players to find meaning in a world defined by ambiguity and despair. Well, that's about it for my rambling today. Thanks for coming and spending some time with me. If you like my rambling, then click on that like button. It really does help. And until we talk again, you guys be sure to take care of yourselves. Bye!